Okay, so let's dive into something pretty profound today. The triple gem. You know, the Buddha, the Dhamma, and the Sangha.
Yeah, big concepts.
Big concepts. And what do they really mean deep down? We've got some source material here that, well, it goes beyond just simple definitions. It really digs into the Pali terms.
That's right. It gets into the attributes, the qualities. And what's really fascinating, I think, is how this text unpacks the layers of meaning in those traditional Pali phrases.
They're not just labels, then.
Not at all. They're presented as, like, descriptions of ultimate reality itself and the path to get there and, the qualities of people who've actually walked it.
Okay, so our mission, let's say, for this deep dive is to unpack these attributes. We'll look at the specific Pali terms from the material, see what they tell us about, well, everything, reality, enlightenment, the path.
And we'll stick just to the English and Pali phrases that are in the text itself.
Exactly. So get ready, because exploring these ancient terms, it actually offers some surprisingly practical insights, things you can connect with.
Yeah, it helps understand not just what the triple gem is, but why it's so highly regarded, and maybe how those qualities could relate to your own journey,
Let's start at the top then. The Buddha, the awakened one. Our source outlines 9 key attributes. First one, and it feels really foundational, is Ara.
Ara. The text says this isn't just like a name someone gave him. It's called a nimitta karama.
A name from an event.
Exactly, a name that describes a quality or arises with enlightenment. And the core meanings, according to this source, are twofold.
Yeah.
Far from defilements, kilesa,
Okay.
and also worthy of respect, of veneration.
Far from defilements. That's powerful. It immediately sets the Buddha apart from, well, ordinary folks who the text seems to say are pretty close to them.
Absolutely. Constantly influenced. The text uses some beautiful analogies here. It talks about the Buddha's purity being like pure gold chumphanate.
Oh, nice.
Or like a flawless, priceless gem, and also totally steadfast. The word is tadino, unshakable, like an indakalupamo.
What's that?
A massive city gatepost, just completely unmoved by, the world's ups and downs. So this purity, this stability, it makes him supremely worthy of respect.
And this being far, it's not just like he was born that way. The source connects it to actually shedding those defilements, right?
Yes, exactly.
Yeah.
It's a process. The text talks about defilements being tied to different layers of existence or subtle bodies within us. And the path to becoming an arhat, someone who embodies this arosi quality, involves purifying these layers one by one.
Like peeling an onion, almost.
Kind of, yeah. Or shedding skins. At different stages on the path, specific defilements, specific bonds are let go of. And it takes intense effort, Mahavirya.
So it's a journey. Inner purification, not just thinking about it.
Precisely. The text really emphasizes that achieving this state means gaining these profound knowledges. It culminates in the one that just eradicates all remaining defilements at Sasavakaya.
Okay.
And crucially, this purification, this insight, involves seeing reality with the Dhammakaya eye.
The Dhammakaya eye, you mentioned that. It's like an inner vision.
Yes, a direct inner seeing. It goes way beyond just physical sight or, thinking things through conceptually.
That's a key point, seeing with the Dhammakaya eye. A totally different way of knowing.
Totally different, which actually brings us really neatly to the second attribute, Samma Sambuddho.
Okay, what's that one?
It means fully self-awakened by right understanding.
Self-awakened. So he figured it out himself. No teacher for the final step.
That's the idea. And the source makes a distinction here, this awakened understanding, which is panya. It's different from just ordinary knowing, like gathering facts. That's more like ya or vijan.
Right.
The text even quotes that famous line from the first sermon, the Dhammacakka Apavatana Sutta, Kakuro Udapadi, Nyata Udapadi, Viyo Udapadi, Vijo Udapadi, Aloku Udapadi.
I arose, knowledge arose, wisdom arose.
Exactly. Seeing, knowing, wisdom, knowledge, light. It's not just seeing a light, it's this combination of deep knowing and seeing. Janapapasata.
Seeing with that Dhammakaya eye again, perceiving reality directly.
Right. And the Samma part.
Right.
Rightly or correctly. That's vital too. It means his understanding isn't just personal, it's accurate. It's verifiable. The text points out he completely knew cause and effect.
Like understanding suffering and what causes it.
Yes, the classic example. Suffering rooting in lobha, greed, dosa, aversion, and moha, delusion. His Samma understanding meant he could trace these causes all the way back. See the whole chain.
Okay.
It mentions Asaji Thera's summary, ye dhamma hetu prabhava. Whatever arises from a cause, the Tathagata shows its cause and also its cessation, samudaya and nirodha.
Cause and ending.
Exactly. The text also touches on the mind's nature being inherently pure, like clear water, just temporarily clouded by these defilements.
Right.
And it briefly points to pakkasamuppada, dependent origination, with avijja, not knowing, as the deepest root of the whole cycle of suffering, and how ending avijja stops the chain reaction.
Makes sense.
The Udana verse, anekajati sasada, searching for the house builder, which is craving, tanha, and then dismantling the house of suffering. It's used as this beautiful metaphor for seeing and ending that root cause.
So the core of Samma Sambuddho is this complete, self-realized, correct understanding of suffering and how it ends, seen directly.
Exactly. Okay, moving on. Third attribute, vijakana sampanno.
Bit of a mouthful, vijakana sampanna.
It is. It translates roughly as accomplished in knowledge, vijja, and conduct, kana.
Knowledge and conduct, they go together.
They absolutely do, according to this. Vijja here means knowledge that actually dispels darkness. And the text defines that darkness as clinging to the kaṇḍa 5.
Form, feeling, perception formations, consciousness.
Right. Seeing them mistakenly as me or mine, as something solid, this clinging, this not knowing, ajata, it hides the truth of nibbana. So releasing that clinging, upadana, that's how you see nibbana.
It's not just knowing about the khandhas, it's letting go of the grip on them.
That's it. The text even says that all the different realms of existence, sensual, form, formless, they're all within this darkness, this clinging.
Yeah.
The world is described as anhaputo, blinded by it.
Wow. So what kinds of vijja, what knowledges are we talking about?
The source lists 8 types, the 8 vijja, 3 main ones and 5 secondary ones called abhinya. It highlights vipassana, clear seeing.
Insight meditation.
Right. Seeing mind and body, namarupa, with that dhammakaya eye again. Seeing their real nature, anicca, dukkha, anatta. Impermanent, stressful, not self.
Okay.
And this builds on samatha, concentration, which the text says involves focusing at the center of the body to calm the mind and see inner bodies. Then vipassana is applied.
How does that work, briefly?
It describes seeing phenomena arise and pass away like water bubbles, seeing the danger in them, getting weary of them, wanting release, and eventually letting go of that upadana, the clinging.
Okay.
And other vijja, briefly, yeah. Things like monomayiti, mind-made body, iti-viti, psychic powers, dibakaku, divine eye, dibasoda, divine ear, parasitti vijja, knowing others' minds, pubindivasa vijja, remembering past lives, and the ultimate one, asavakaya vijja, knowledge of the destruction of defilements. But the pasana is core for liberation.
And the karana part, the conduct?
Ah, yes. 15 aspects are listed. It covers the whole range. Basic ethics, like silasabar, restraint by rules, and indriya savar, guarding the senses. Then qualities like jagarino yoga, wakefulness, sada, faith, confidence, sati, mindfulness. The text links this to masatipahana, being aware in all postures, hiri and otapa, moral shame and fear of wrongdoing.
Important virtues.
Definitely. Also bahuzaka, great learning. Opakamo, energy, striving, mentioning the Buddha's daily routine as an example. Panya, wisdom and conduct. And the 4 rupa jhana, the meditative absorptions in the form realm.
So kind of is like the whole package of ethical living, diligence, and meditative skill that supports the wisdom, the vijja.
Exactly. They support each other. Accomplishment in both. That's vijakana sampanno.
Got it. So the takeaway is accomplishment in both liberating insight and the disciplined practice that makes it possible.
We got it. Next up, number 4, shugato.
Shugato. Well gone. What does that mean exactly?
Well, the source gives a few layers of meaning, actually. It means well gone in the sense of having perfect conduct, sukharita, through countless lives, always leading to good destinations. Shugati.
Okay, so good karma leading to good results.
Right. But it also means gone to the ultimate good place, which is nibbana, described as shema disai, the secure, peaceful direction.
So the destination and the journey there.
Yes. And it can also mean walks beautifully, referring to his majestic presence and gait. The text mentions him walking to teach his first disciples. And maybe most powerfully, it means his very presence makes a place good. The example given is the city of Vesali, suffering from plague and famine.
Oh, I know that story.
Right. His presence and the chanting of the Dhamma purified the whole place and ended the suffering. So Sugata implies his being itself is beneficial.
Okay, so Sugata covers perfected conduct, reaching nibbana, and having this incredibly positive, transforming presence.
That's a good summary. Number 5, Lokavidu, knower of the world.
Knower of the world. Which world? Not just Earth, I'm guessing.
Definitely not just Earth. The source says the Buddha knows three kinds of worlds, or loka. There's the Sakkara loka, the conditioned world,
Okay.
the Sattva loka, the world of beings,
Mm-hmm.
and the Okasa loka, the space world, the physical cosmos.
Okay, tell me about the conditioned world, Sakaraloka.
This is basically everything that's conditioned, that depends on something else to exist or continue. The text explains it using the idea of ahara, nourishment, or food.
Not just physical food.
No, four types. There's physical food, kabaikarha, yes, but also contact, fasara, mental volition, manasenchetanara, and consciousness, vinyahara. Each one feeds or sustains different aspects of our existence, different realms. The Buddha understood exactly how this web of conditions works.
Wow, okay. And the world of beings, Sataloka.
This is knowing beings inside out, their minds, their temperaments, garita, their hidden tendencies, anusaya, their inclinations, adhimuti, their spiritual faculties, indriya. He knew that beings get results according to their actions, their kamma, yata kamma. He saw things as they really are, yata putan yatasana.
Seeing the reality of karma.
Yes. And crucially, linked to that, he knew who was capable of understanding the Dhamma and actually reaching enlightenment, Baba, and who, well, wasn't ready, Baba.
So he knew who he could effectively teach and help.
Exactly. Tailored his approach. And the third world, Okasaloka, the space world. It's knowing the structure of the universe, the different realms, from the hells up to the highest formless heavens, their locations, even the distances, according to the text. It also mentions how the elements distill at the center of these realms to form the kaṇḍas.
So a complete cosmology.
Pretty much. The insight for Lokavidu is this incredibly comprehensive, direct knowledge of reality, physical, psychological, karmic, cosmic, all of it.
An unparalleled understanding. Okay, number 6. Anuttaro Purasadama.
Another long one. Unsurpassed trainer of persons to be tamed.
The ultimate teacher, then.
The supreme guide, yeah. The source really emphasizes his skill in knowing how to guide or tame different people based on their individual nature and needs.
Adaptable.
Very. Use all sorts of methods, logical argument, gentle persuasion. But sometimes, the text says, even miraculous displays of idipiadia, if that was what it took to break through someone's resistance or limited view.
Like what?
Well, the text gives the example of his stepbrother Nanda, who was really attached to worldly pleasures, and also taming powerful figures like the ascetic Uruvela Kassapa, who had huge pride, different folks, different strokes.
Right, so the insight is his unmatched, flexible skill in guiding beings towards liberation.
Exactly. Number 7 is simpler. Satadeva Manusana, teacher of devas and humans.
Teacher of gods and humans. He didn't just teach people on Earth.
Nope. The text mentions his daily routine actually included specific times for teaching both humans and devas, these divine beings. The Magala Sutta, the discourse on blessings, for example, that was given because a deva asked him a question.
So his teaching reached beyond the human realm.
Yeah, the benefit was for beings in many realms. The insight is straightforward. His teaching is universal for sentient beings capable of understanding.
Okay. Number 8 takes us back to Buddho, but you said with a different nuance.
Yes. We had awakened before. Here, the emphasis is on blossomed.
Like a flower.
Exactly like a lotus flower opening its petals. It signifies the full, complete flowering of all his potential, all his virtues, at the moment of enlightenment. Beautiful image. The text also connects this to a symbolic story about 5 lotuses appearing, representing the 5 Buddhas of this cosmic age.
So the insight is that state of complete spiritual flowering, blossoming.
And finally, number 9, Bhagava.
Bhagava. Heard that one a lot. It seems to have several translations. What does our source focus on?
It pulls out 2 main meanings, destroyer and distributor.
Destroyer. Destroyer of what?
Destroyer of the cycle of rebirth, samsara. He's completely broken the chain, destroyed the roots. Avijja, ignorance, ta, craving, upadana, clinging, and the kamma that results from them and keeps beings bound to suffering and endless rebirths.
It's broken the cycle. Okay. And distributor.
As Saba knew, the all-knowing one, he had the unique ability to perfectly understand, analyze, organize, and then distribute or teach the incredibly deep and detailed Dhamma he realized.
All the details.
Yeah, the text mentions things like the kaṇḍas, the elements dhatu, sense spaces, the atana, mind, sita, mental factors, tatasaka, matter, rupa, and nibbana. He could break it all down and teach it effectively.
So Bhagava means he's totally broken free, and he has the perfect ability to share that liberating knowledge with others.
You've got it. Phew. That's quite a journey through the Buddha's attributes. according to this source.
Wow, yeah. That is a lot to take in, from like radical purity achieved through intense inner work all the way to supreme teaching skill and knowing, well, everything. Okay, let's shift gears. The Dhamma, the teaching itself. Specifically, the Siddhamma, the true Dhamma. What are its qualities? The source starts with Sokato Bhagavata Dhammo.
Right. Well expounded by the Blessed One. The key point the text makes here is that the Dhamma, as taught by the Buddha, is only for the practitioner's benefit. It's guaranteed, if practiced correctly, to lead towards peace and happiness, never towards suffering.
Guaranteed positive results. That's a strong claim.
It is. And it's seen as beneficial not just for ultimate liberation, but also for improving life here and now, both spiritually and even in worldly ways. The text also mentions the three aspects: prayati, study, phayatis, practice, and paivavid, realization.
Study, practice, realization.
Yeah. You study to know how to practice, and you practice to gain direct realization.
Right. So the insight for Swakato is that it's this perfectly taught path leading only to well-being.
Precisely. Next one, sanditogo.
Sanditiko, self-visible. That sounds important.
It really is. It's maybe one of the most unique claims for the Dhamma. It means the results, the benefits of the practice are seen by the practitioner themselves right here, right now.
You don't just have to take someone's word for it.
Exactly. You don't rely purely on faith or what someone else tells you.
Yeah.
You experience its truth directly as you practice. You see the changes in yourself.
See it for yourself. Okay. Number 3, akaliko.
Akaliko, timeless or immediate.
Timeless. Meaning
Meaning the results aren't dependent on time or era. Whenever you actually do the practice, you get the results. The text explicitly uses this to counter any idea like, oh, the Buddha lived so long ago, maybe it doesn't work anymore.
so it busts that excuse.
Completely. The truth of the Dhamma, its effectiveness, is always available now, if you practice.
The truth is accessible now, whenever you make the effort. Got it. 4th.
Ekapasiko.
Yeah.
Inviting to come and see.
Come and see.
Yeah. Because the Dhamma is good, it is true, it is verifiable, sadisiko, and it is timeless, kaliko. Anyone who's genuinely experienced it and confidently say to others, hey, come and see for yourself, try it out.
It's an open invitation.
Exactly. It's not a secret doctrine you have to blindly believe. It's presented as something testable.
Okay. Open for investigation. 5th, opanaiko.
Opanaiko, leading inwards or to be brought within.
Leading inwards. How so?
It means the truth isn't just some external philosophy you learn about. It's something that needs to be internalized. The practice leads you deeper into your own mind, your own reality, towards liberation within yourself. It's about bringing the Dhamma into your experience.
So internalizing the truth through ongoing practice makes sense. And the last one, okay.
To be experienced individually by the wise.
Individually. Like Sanditiko again?
Similar, but with maybe a slightly different emphasis. It highlights the personal nature of the knowing. Ya versus Panya again, perhaps. Is known individually, pakata, by those who are Vinyishi, the wise, the discerning, those who have developed the capacity to see.
So it's personal knowledge?
Deeply personal. You can talk about it, but the actual realization is individual. The text uses the analogy of tasting sugar. You can describe sweetness, but the person has to taste it themselves to truly know it.
Right, you have to taste it yourself. Okay. So, the Dhamma's qualities, well taught, seeable for yourself, timeless, inviting investigation, leading inward, and known individually by the wise. Powerful stuff.
Very powerful. Which leads us naturally to the third gem, the Sangha, the community. And again, the source is very specific about which sana it's praising here.
Right, it's not just any group of monks or followers, is it?
No. The first attribute makes that clear. Supaipano Bhagavatu Sabakaso, the Sangha of the Blessed One's disciples who have practiced well.
Practiced well.
Key phrase. This refers specifically to the Arya Savakas, the noble disciples.
Noble disciples, meaning?
Those who have actually attained one of the stages of enlightenment on the path. From the first stage, Satapana, stream enterer, up to the final stage, Arhat. It's not talking about ordinary disciples, Putijana Savaka, who might just have faith, but haven't had that breakthrough realization yet.
So it's the realized ones. How are they categorized?
Usually grouped into 4 pairs, or 8 types of individuals, corresponding to the path and fruit of those 4 stages. Sotapana, Sakadagami, Anogami, and Arahant.
And how did they become noble disciples? What's their practice?
Well, the text links it right back to the path we discussed for the Buddha himself. It talks about them cultivating the Dhammakaya, meditating at the center of the body, seeing the inner bodies.
Using that Dhammakaya eye.
Exactly. And applying Vipassana insight to the Four Noble Truths, seeing things clearly. As they do this, they systematically shed the different layers of defilements or fetters associated with each stage.
Like the Buddha did.
Following the same path he laid out, they learned to see anicca, dukkha, anatta, impermanence, unsatisfactoriness, not self in all conditioned things, all sakkara. And the text adds an interesting point here about seeing the Dhammakaya itself as having qualities of nikka, sukha, atta, permanent, happy, and self in a transcendent sense.
Okay, so because they've practiced this path successfully, they embody certain qualities of practice.
Right. The source then gives 3 more attributes that describe how they practiced well. Ujupaipeno, Yayapaipeno, and Samichipaipeno.
Uju, Yaya, Samichi.
They basically mean practiced straightly, uju, rightly or for knowledge, jaya, and properly or worthily, samichi. Their practice was correctly oriented, aimed directly at nibbana, aimed at the knowledge needed for release, practiced in a way that is fitting and worthy.
So they are the community that has walked the path straight towards nibbana.
Precisely. And because of this accomplishment, this perfected practice, they are considered supremely worthy of respect and offerings from the world.
Ah, that's where the other qualities come in.
Yes. The source lists the traditional set. Ujio, worthy of offerings brought from afar, like special gifts. Poyuyo, worthy of hospitality, things prepared for guests. Dakiyo, worthy of gifts or donations given with faith and kamma. And Anjalakaranyo, worthy of respectful salutation, like pressing palms together.
They deserve the highest respect.
The highest. And culminating in the final description, Anuttara Punyakatan Lokasa.
Unsurpassed field of merit for the world.
Exactly. Making offerings to them, supporting them, showing respect. It yields the greatest spiritual fruit, the best merit, because they embody the living results of the Dhamma. They are the fertile field where seeds of good deeds yield the richest harvest.
Okay, so the takeaway for the Sangha attributes, it refers to the noble, realized disciples who have practiced rightly towards nibbana and are therefore the most worthy recipients of veneration and support in the world.
That really covers the attributes of all 3 gems as laid out in our source material.
Right. And now, the really big question, the practical one. We've unpacked all this incredible detail about the Buddha, the Dhamma, the Sangha. What does it mean for you listening right now? The source actually asks this, doesn't it? Is it enough just to know these meanings, to think about them?
Yeah, it pushes back on that a bit. It makes a very clear distinction between Amisa Puja, which is like material worship, making offerings, lighting incense, that kind of thing, and Paipaki Puja, which is worship through practice, honoring the triple gem by actually trying to walk the path. And the text states the Buddha himself praised practice, Patipati, as the highest, truest form of worship.
So knowing is good, but doing is better.
That's the message. Knowing the attributes is the map, but practice is the journey.
And that akaliko quality of the Dhamma we talked about, timeless, that's key here too, isn't it?
Absolutely crucial. The text hammers this point home. Because the Dhamma is timeless, the path and its results are available to anyone who puts in the effort. Right now, it doesn't matter that the Buddha lived 2,600 years ago.
The truth doesn't expire.
Exactly. And remember, the text points out both the Buddha and all those Arya Savakas, the noble disciples, they all started out as ordinary human beings.
Right. They weren't always enlightened.
No. They were just like us, but they found the path and put in the effort. The path is laid out. The challenge, as the source frames it, is your effort, your diligence in actually walking it.
So how does the source suggest we apply that effort effectively? Any tips for success?
It brings up the Iddhapada 4. The 4 bases of success, or roads to power, sometimes called. These are seen as essential ingredients for making real progress in practice.
Okay, what are they?
First is chanda. This is more than just wishful thinking. It's a genuine intention, a love for the practice, a keen interest and desire to do it.
You gotta want it.
You do. Second is virya. Effort, energy, persistence. Not giving up when it gets tough. Consistent application.
Sticking with it.
Third is satita. This refers to the mind, specifically attention, focus, keeping the mind on the task, not letting it wander endlessly. Mindfulness and concentration working together.
Keeping your head in the game.
Pretty much. And fourth is vimasa. Investigation, wisdom, discernment. It's about examining your practice, understanding the principles, testing things out, checking if you're on the right track, using wisdom to guide the effort.
So you need the desire, the effort, the focus, and the intelligence to guide it all.
That's the recipe for success, according to this framework. Desire, effort, attention, investigation. Apply these to the practice.
The Source also really elevates the triple gem, calls it the ultimate Ratanataya.
Yes, the three jewels. Superior to any worldly jewel, any diamond or gold, because these jewels lead to lasting peace and liberation.
And it connects finding these jewels back to the Dhammakaya, doesn't it?
It does. It presents the Dhammakaya as like the inner essence, the key to realizing these jewels within yourself. The practice described seeing the initial inner luminous sphere, the Panamamaka, and then progressing through deeper, more refined inner bodies.
Through effort and purification.
Yes, through effort, virya, and purification of the mind. This is presented as the direct way to achieve that purity, gain that insight, and thereby realize the Buddha, Dhamma, and Sangha qualities within your own experience.
Wow. Okay. So let's try and wrap this up. We've taken a really deep dive into these traditional Pali terms describing the Buddha, Dhamma, and Sangha. And they're clearly not just, fancy titles. They're incredibly rich descriptions of the highest state of being, the ultimate truth, and the path to get there.
And the really strong message coming through from our source material is that the truest way to honor these three jewels isn't just through external acts of reverence, but by actually engaging with these truths through your own personal practice, your paipati.
Because the Dhamma works. It's a kaliko, timeless. It's available right now for anyone who applies themselves with the right attitude, that chanda, virya, chitta, vimasa.
Exactly. The potential is there.
So maybe a final thought to leave you with, something provocative perhaps. This text we've been exploring, it details a specific meditative path, focusing inward, seeing these inner realities, leading, ultimately, it says, to realizing these very attributes, Ara, Samma Sambuddho, all of them within oneself. So, consider this possibility. What if this profound knowledge, the state described by these ancient terms, rooted not just in belief, but in verifiable personal experience and dedicated practice, what if it's actually accessible to you? Given what we've unpacked today, what's one small step you might consider taking to move beyond just knowing about these incredible qualities towards potentially experiencing them even a little bit for yourself?